Well, howdy folks, the name's Jebediah, and we're gonna be taking a gander at my ranch. Now this here's the latest mugshot of me, and I'm a-thinking I'm a right handsome fella. Well, that's enough of that. I have to apologise to any Texans out there for my absolutely awful accent, and I'll continue the rest of the video with my normal voice. But before we get going, there's just an aerial view here showing a plan and layout of the ranch as it is. So yeah, we've got Jebediah and Mary Lou's ranch with their son Jeb Jr. There's 3 ranch hands, but they're out at the moment, they're not on the ranch. So they've taken the horses out for some exercise, so we'll have a nice little quiet walk around without them getting in the way. And we've also got the blacksmith, Tom. He's hard at work in the forge, so we'll take a look at him later as well. This was built at Sunshine Tidings, and all the rocks and trees you see I've placed myself and built them up high enough so as you can't see the rest of the Fallout 4 universe. The idea is to keep this so as it looks late 17th, 18th century and authentic for its time period as a Wild West theme. Let's go and have a look at the chuck wagon, which is used for long drives of more than 2 or 3 nights. So I glitched a bureau into the front of the wagon there, or the back of the wagon, sorry, so as the food can be stored in it. There's the preparation table that will fold up against the bureau and keep everything in place. And on the side there you can see a small doctor's bag on top of the box. And then on this side there's another storage box with a colander on top of it, and you can see the pots and pans hanging from the preparation table there, some vegetables on the floor. So let's go round and have a look inside. And here we've got the goods wagon that we take into town for when we go and get supplies. And there's the stables and bunkhouse. Smoking chimney. And we've got the freshwater pond. Couple of ducks on the pond. The pond's got a small waterfall, and the water comes in through the rocks from behind and seeps into this little pond. Over the back of the pond there's a nice little bench with a table. And I have a nice little still image of the bench and table, somewhere just to sit at the back of the pond and ponder life. Pun fully intended there. Around the back of the stable and bunkhouse here, there's some crates and some broken crates that are being repaired. Another little still image showing the broken crates and a cart with some planks on and some wire netting used around the ranch to make repairs. Now we go down to the bathhouse. The broken chair on the ground, which was made by using 2 chairs, one sunk right down into the floor just showing its side, and the other one, well, as you can see. outside you've got the outhouse, which is totally separate from every other building. It's evening and young Jeb Jr. is sitting over there waiting for the ranch hands to come back so that he can get into some mischief, no doubt. Always keep a shotgun in the outhouse in case you get caught with your pants down. A few little bits of washing there hanging on the line to dry. Around the side of the ranch here we've got some crates with a tarpaulin over them and a broken barrel with some hay spilled out of it. Hitching post and water trough, shovel and bucket to collect the horse manure. And there's the lovely wife, Mary Lou, on the porch, sweeping up. She does like to keep a clean house, bless her. On the right of the porch we've got a cactus in a basket. For the ranch house itself I used the snappy walls, I think it was the shell kit walls, and wallpaper that looked like these planks that you can see to cover the what would normally be blue shell kit walls. Now before we go in I'm going to cut here and I'm going to show you a couple of work in progress pictures and then we'll pick it up again from here. This is the ground floor, exterior and interior, and as you can see the shell kit walls have got that bluish tinge to them, which is quite horrible for a traditional ranch house. And I didn't want a log cabin effect, so that's why I used the wallpaper that resembled the planks, the vertical planks. And you'll also notice that I added lots and lots of pillars, beams and posts in between each wall and around all the window frames to break up the actual wall pieces and give it more of a cabin look. A lot of those had to be hand placed and positioned. And again with the roof, one of the features with the snappy house kit pieces is the roofs have these white edges and like embossed edge borders going around, so they all had to be covered up with planks and posts, horizontal posts and beams as well. For those with a sharp eye you'll notice that the interior has got horizontal plank wallpaper whereas the outside had vertical plank wallpaper. Now one of the biggest efforts that I had to make was making use of the attic underneath the roof so as it could actually be turned into a living space, a livable space. I had to design all the truss work myself using beams out of workshop rearranged, tilting every single one to the same tilt as the roof pieces and fitting it out so as there was still space to walk underneath. I think if I remember rightly there was actually over 104 I think it was actual beams used to make this truss work, and then he edges what would actually be the skirting there is extra on top of that. So again, a lot of this would have been hand placed, not much of it would have snapped. So yeah, there was a lot of effort put into just the truss work in this attic space. And another thing I did with the beams that are running down the angle of the roof there, they actually protrude outside, just underneath the guttering edge. So it just looks like the stumps of the trusses come in out from the outside. It's quite effective. In this exterior screenshot, you can just see where those truss beams are protruding out just underneath the gutter edge. And along the flat wall, where the apex wall is above the wagon wheels, you can also see that the horizontal beams are protruding out of the wall itself, just above the ground floor. I think creating little features like that make a huge effect to the overall look. Right, let's get back to the walkthrough. There's a little sign there above the logs behind Mary Lou saying "Pardon our dust." Lovely open fire with a sooty orange metal damper, and the goodest of good boys sitting in front of the fire warming himself up. This is a good place to throw in another screenshot of the fireplace in its full glory. So we've got the cooking pot inside the fire there, and above the fire we've got his Jebediah's favourite pistol and Winchester rifle. On the mantelpiece on the right hand side, the lamp that is lit, you'll notice that that is a Bunsen burner and a few chemistry jars all fitted together to create an oil lamp. On the front of the beam that makes the mantelpiece, I sunk in conduit pipes, so it's just the hexagon end shows through. And there's 4 of them. It looks like there's huge, great big nuts bolting the beam to the brickwork. On the right of the fireplace, there's a little box there with a broken down Winchester rifle. I think it actually says Winchester on the front of the box as well. You'll see on the desktopper there, they are actually shrunken down saloon doors. Jebediah and Mary Lou's wedding photo, and next to that is a little pouch of gold dust on the scales. So in this attic space, or loft space, or whatever you want to call it, we've got Jeb Jr.'s bed and Jebediah and Mary Lou's bedroom. I love this little touch. I shrunk down some Meyerlurk eggs and put in a test tube holder. I sunk down into the counter a little bit. Knife in the bread. The stove would have been a wood burner, so that's got a pipe, smoke pipe going outside. In the corner there is the basket of logs for the stove. And there's the stove chimney smoking away. The well, and then we move on to the hayloft. Water trough at the front, and along the back is a long feeder trough full of hay. Now we go to the forge. So I'm going to cut here again and put up a few more screenshots of the forge before we actually do the tour of it. The main part of any forge is the furnace itself. So as you can see in the top picture, I started with that. and then I built the rest of it around that to fit in. I was quite pleased with a couple of these little features with the anvil and the horseshoes. Up against the anvil is a metal rod waiting to be smelted and shaped into whatever the smithy is going to do. Old Tom. That rod is actually a harpoon, and I dropped it from my inventory and then enlarged it, made it static and propped it up there. And then we go on to the horseshoes. So there was a crate with a piece of hardboard or plywood on top of it that I put there and sized to match the size of the crate. And then the horseshoes themselves, what I did was I took some pots and I shrunk them down and then tilted them, because they were quite large pots. I needed large ones to get enough material on the lip to be thick enough. So then I tilted them very, very slightly and then sunk them down into the crate. So it was just a bit of the edge of the pot was missing. I thought they looked quite good. And here we've got a screenshot of Tom just labouring away. And you'll notice on the grounds there's some rings. Now again, they were pots that were either enlarged or shrunk and then sunk down into the ground to look like the rings off of that broken barrel ready to be coopered. And here Tom's just thrown a hot rod into the water trough. And then I just threw these last two in with the rod in the furnace because I actually loved the shadows on the side walls cast by the furnace. Right, back to the walkthrough video. So here I added extra beamwork to the roof just to make it look like it's more stabilised. And just across from the forge we've got the paddock, and from there we will go across the campfire and into the stable and bunkhouse. Right inside the doorway there we've got cooking fat ready to pounce on a mouse, and the lower floor is the stables. Bit of manure there. Big box of dynamite. A few towels for wiping down the horses, a couple of little bits hanging on the walls, the ceiling. And then upstairs is the bunkhouse for the 3 ranch hands and Tom. blacksmith. Back of the chair there we've got someone's gun belt and holster, and on the table there's a revolver underneath the hat. Hi Junior, I'm sure the guys will be back soon. I think we'll go over to this table and stools and we'll take a seat. Take a nice long look at the ranch house, which was the main feature. I hope you enjoyed the tour. And thank you very much. Bye for now.